Friends, Greg, Newmaster, coming at you again with another action figure review. Today I have Marvel Legends Retro Hobgoblin. I gotta say, I love this line. I love these retro figures. I mean, just look at that card, man. If you grew up in the 90s and collected the Spider-Man figures and you watched Spider-Man the Animated Series, such a great time for cartoons, such a great time for action figures, and this is the card that Toy Biz used on the original Hobgoblin figure. And if you collected that first line of Spider-Man figures from the animated series, you definitely had the Hobgoblin, which was a very weird thing because on the animated series, Hobgoblin premiered before Green Goblin, which makes absolutely no sense canonically because Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, is Spider-Man's main villain. Always has been. It's either him or Dr. Octopus. They're like the two big major villains of Spider-Man, where Batman has Joker, and it's pretty much hands down Joker. Spider-Man has Doc Ock and Green Goblin, but it's primarily Green Goblin is his arch nemesis. That being said, on the Spider-Man the Animated Series, they debuted Hobgoblin first, and I'm pretty sure it had to do with action figures as I'm making this action figure video, because they had all these different on the show. Hobgoblin had his main glider, but then he had like a super glider, and he was connected with a kingpin. And Norman Osborn was on the show, and he was the supplier of the Hobgoblin's weapons. But that's not how it went down in the comics. It was always Norman Osborn taking the Goblin Serum, going crazy, and then later on, Roderick Kinsley, the fashion designer, discovers Green Goblin's lairs. He's sort of a sociopath and he wants vengeance. It's kind of weird that he's a fashion designer. Not my choice for a supervillain, but whatever. Okay, angry fashion designer. I guess that House of Gucci movie shows how ruthless the fashion designers can be. But anyhow, so Roderick Kingsley eventually becomes, or is revealed to be, the Hobgoblin. And I was just rereading these comics, and it's such a convoluted story. And I actually think it would have been better if it was Ned Leeds. There was a little bit more of an emotional punch, because there's a connection to Peter there, because they were work friends at least. And that'll be even, I think that'll be great in the Tom Holland Spider-Man movie if Ned does become the Hobgoblin. That would be really fascinating to see, Peter have the adversary of his best friend in the movies. But anyhow, Hobgoblin was always a really cool-looking image and figure, and even though he's, a repurposed Green Goblin, the redesign was done by the legendary John Romita Jr., my favorite Spider-Man artist, hands down. Just love the realism of his work, especially in the later years. But, Hobgoblin, he's just a cool figure. He's iconic. He was iconic on the show, and he's not quite at the level of the Green Goblin, but he's pretty darn cool. So I had to get this figure. Look at the classic card here from the Toy Biz days. Gotta love that. If you collected back then. Here it is on the back. And we get Shocker, Shocker, Hammerhead, Spider Armor, Spider-Man. All demonstrated in the show. Except for Ben Reilly, Spider-Man. He was actually, you only see him as the Scarlet Spider in Spider-Man the Animated Series. You don't see him in his official Spider-Man costume. But that's cool they did a retro figure of him anyhow, because this body mold is fantastic. So yeah, this is great, just great. And I had to pick this figure up because I missed out on the Hobgoblin the first time from Hasbro, and that figure is so expensive on the aftermarket. So I was really happy to pick this up because it brought up, a lot of good memories from the past, and he just looks great. So let's bust this guy open, because I don't keep the cards. I know there's a lot of collectors out there who faces melt when I open these figures up, but I like to have my figures out of the package. I've been like that since I was very young. And I know there's people who buy like 6, or no, not 6, that's an exaggeration, maybe 6, it just depends. But there's people who buy at least 3 figures. They buy 1 to keep in the package, 1 to take out, and just an extra. That's a little excessive for me. I just like to have 1, maybe 2, if it's my very favorite figure. But, so here he is. And I just, I really love, so this does model after the animated series. The only difference is, because, you know, with the Green Goblin, they did do a new head sculpt, and they did a repaint. But on this one, they gave him new arms and legs, because he had the chain, sort of that chainmail look. The original Hobgoblin figure, just like Green Goblin does here. So they gave him just a smooth look, but if they wanted to do it animated series accurate, they would have just given him a perfect cape, because he didn't have the ripped up cape on the animated series, which is fine. But you know, if you're gonna do that, you know, go all the way. But he just looks great. I love this face sculpt. I mean, get a good look at that, everybody. Oh, let's get the light so you guys can see. But that just looks wonderful. Love it. Wonderful head sculpt. Just looks very malevolent. And I wonder, oh wow, this is awesome. So check this out, everybody. You can actually take the hood off. And look at how creepy that looks. That is awesome. I love that. I didn't know you could do that. I thought it was just sculpted on, but yeah, that looks great. That's really creepy. And here he is without the hood. So that's just a nice, evil looking mask, which is very awesome. I love that you can remove the hood. I didn't think you would be able to do that, but you can remove his hood. I'm going to put it back on just for the sake of the review, but that's great. Love that. He also comes with his pouch of weapons, which has become sort of the standard purse for girl figures and goblin figures. Both Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy figures came with the purse or the pouch, whatever you want to call it. So his nice man purse. But I love his Goblin Glider. It's different than Green Goblin's, as you can see, so it's not an exact rip-off. This belt is loose. It's a loose plastic good. If you just want to compare the different gliders, just like the show, which I love. Very, very nice. And let's see, how do we put I guess the purse would go on under his cape. I don't know why they just didn't put them on him like so. So you put the cape on and then his pouch and pop that on just like so. And just a standard Marvel Legends awesome articulation. Just so you guys can see, he has crunch, which was stuck on mine. So make sure, very nice crunch. I think this is the Bucky cap. Yeah, this is the Bucky cap body mold, which is a great body mold. But yeah, which is what Marvel Legends typically uses. Double jointed elbows, knees. We got the old school Captain America looking boots, the swashbuckler boots. Just like Bucky cap, everything is the same, you know, except for the head sculpt and the additional goods like the cape and the cowl and the mask and the head sculpt and the purse and all that good stuff. But just a great, great looking figure. I highly recommend getting this because I know it's going to be expensive on the aftermarket because of all the scalpers. Oh, you wretched scalpers who go out there. This series is showing up all over Target right now. So if you want to get that. Also comes with a pumpkin bomb, which is a really nice looking translucent pumpkin bomb, which is really great. any goblins got to have their pumpkin bombs. But yeah, so very nice. Having trouble getting it in his hand. But just highly recommend this figure, especially if you love Spider-Man, especially if you love the different goblins. Hobgoblin's just an iconic figure, and he was so mysterious and just a convoluted storyline. This is the only other Hobgoblin figure I currently own. And this is more of the McFarlane version where, he looks like a monster. Almost like Demo Goblin, if you guys remember him. But you can take his mask off. It's just really difficult to get off. And that's what that head sculpt looks like there. So just really distorted looking, but the glider is amazing. I mean, this is very heavy metal looking Hobgoblin. As you can see, this is a more toned down version of Hobgoblin. And this is like demonic looking Hobgoblin. But really scary looking character for Spider-Man to face. So anyhow, I highly recommend this figure. This is the Marvel Legends Retro Hobgoblin. You can get these figures at Target and other places online. Highly recommend it. I'd pick it up as soon as you could before the prices skyrocket on this guy. Once again, just look at that glider. Really, really nice glider. Look at the detail on the bottom. Just nice little touches. The headpiece doesn't come off, so sometimes on the gliders there's missiles or little sharp knife pieces in there because Green Goblin likes to impale people, especially himself. Haha. So anyhow, if you like the video, please like and subscribe, and God bless you all. Peace.